Ni hao! We are in the middle of another typhoon. Check it out! Oh no. I swear, Shanghai has so many almost typhoons. I rode through typhoons when I lived in Taiwan on my scooter with like water up to my knees. This stuff, I'm gonna regret this tomorrow when it really, really hits, but this stuff so far, ha ha ha, I say. Anyway, right, hi, this is not the Weather Channel. This is a very shaky version of a language learning vlog. For those of you that are new, welcome. My name is Stephanie and I have been learning simplified Mandarin Chinese for over a year now. I am currently working on the HSK3. I'm sorry, I really should have this stable somewhere, but I am not in a stable position. Okay, I'm just gonna keep my hands there. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I'm taking the HSK3 test in December, come hell or high water, and I am very much so focusing on reading, and I'm really right now 99% putting my efforts into the listening, and that will make sense in a second, but the listening from the HSK3 Standard Course Workbook. That's a lot of info. So how does it make sense that I'm using the listening to practice my reading? And this is going to come up backwards, but I think, because I'm using the wrong phone, because I didn't think I was going to make a video, but as you can see, these are the transcripts. Even backwards, you can see that this is simplified Mandarin Chinese. Those are the transcripts of the listening from the HSK. So I'm killing. Why do we have that phrase in English? I am doing two things at once. Let's do that. I was going to do the two birds, one stone phrase, but that's an awful phrase, almost as bad as 100 ways to skin a cat. We're sick society. Anyway, focus. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So I'm using the listening. I'm using the transcript from the listening to practice reading and listening. Now, why the hell do I care about listening if I don't? Because eventually I will. When I say I'm focusing on reading, and this is not the point of the video at all, yeah, it means that's my primary focus, but you can't isolate skills like that completely. And I hope to be a fully functional person in the language at some point. It's just some skills are going to come sooner than later, and I hope reading is first. That leads me to this video, where I really, really tear apart the difference between reading and reading comprehension. This is a painful subject for me. Why? Because, in my brain, I think there shouldn't be a difference. In my brain, the mysterious place in here, I don't understand how there can be a difference. If you can remember what a word is, if you can remember the symbol for it, in my brain, that means that you should remember the meaning of it. How the heck do you remember the thing that symbolizes it and yet not the meaning? I don't know, but I'm doing it. So what's happened is I'm doing a lot of listening every day, reading/listening every day. From right now HSK2 and HSK3 materials, and then because I'm always reviewing the previous materials, and right now I'm doing HSK3 3 times a week, HSK2 2 times a week, and flashcards most days. Once I run out of the HSK2 material, which I think is the end of next week, then I'll start reviewing HSK1. And then when I'm done reviewing HSK1, I'll start reviewing the beginning of HSK3, because then we'll be close to December. Blah. So I'm constantly doing review. What was my point? Oh, yes. So in the review of HSK2, I'm also sweeping up the grammar that I missed, which isn't really that bad. It's super obvious stuff, like when you talk about be, it's a comparison, says the grammar explanation. Yes, that's the definition. That's not really a grammar point, that's just the meaning. So I don't really think that grammar point adds, reading that and reading the examples adds any more flavor to that particular grammar point. But that's another video, because I know the grammar highlights are going to come in handy at some point, just not for that particular one. And to be fair, for HSK2, not a lot of them. But I'm sure later on they will. So it's good to pay attention to it to some degree. But here's my point. I can recognize words much more than I can remember what they are. Is that true? Let me think about that for a second. Because I'm now underlining the words that I don't know, and I want to do a finger quote, but one of my hands needs to hold up the stinking tripod. So what does that mean by don't know? Reading comprehension. Whoops. Reading comprehension. I'm actually underlining the ones that I can't read, meaning I forget their name, their sound, whatever you want to call it. Why? Because ultimately, that is going to be, once that's in place, then generally speaking, I'm sort of thinking this through as I'm talking about it, because I had to make a decision. I didn't want to do two different types of underline. I didn't want to do underline and circle and all kinds of symbols. I wanted to keep it simple. And I went with my gut, and my gut said, if I can't remember the name, underline it. If I know the name, but I still don't remember what it is, let it go for now. I can do that. It's all in pencil, so I can erase that and come back and do that later if I want to. Okay, fine. So I went with my gut, but I don't quite understand why I'm doing it, so I'm trying to make sense of it. I like it now that it's been a few weeks. I like having made this decision instinctually, and now I'm trying to put words to why I think that happened. The thing is, in the layers of remembering a word in Chinese, it seems to be that I recognize it first. This could be the first time that I quantify this in such a clear way. Whoa! Okay, so I recognize it first, meaning if there's nothing else that looks like it, it moves up in the vocabulary, in the Lightner box vocabulary level really fast. If there's something that's similar to it, it takes a little bit longer, but I start to recognize it and I go, is that san or na? Is that ren or... That's not true. There isn't a whole lot that looks like ren yet. But you know what I mean? There's things that then I'll start to question it. So after I recognize it, then the sounds will come. Generally speaking, unless it's one that is a pictogram, which is some of them, but not the vast majority, unless it's one of those, generally speaking, the sounds of the language will come. Now, I sound like a buffoon, so when I say sounds, I mean I can spell it in pinyin, and I may or may not be able to remember the tones. But I can see the word in pinyin in my head, and I can kind of hear it, but generally speaking, I'm not going to hear it in any way that anybody else would recognize yet. That's part of the layers of learning. So I recognize it, then I learn the sounds of it, and then the meaning happens. And so this keeps happening over and over and over and over and over again. So I'm underlining it, because if I don't have the second layer down, if I don't remember the name of it, I'm not going to remember the meaning, again, for most of them. So I'm tackling this as it comes, and if I don't remember the sound, I underline it and I come back to it. Some of them, like B-Sai competition, because I did that visual very clearly where the second part of it is somebody like fighting their way to the top, and I don't have anything that looks like it right now. That one I remember the meaning before the sounds, but that's not common for me. Generally speaking, the vast majority of the time, I remember the sounds first, and then the meaning comes after I see it enough times or see it in context. So basically what I'm telling you and myself is that I can read a lot of the text that I'm reading. There aren't that many words that I'm underlining per sentence. Maybe 1, max 2, even on the new chapters in HSK3, which is pretty awesome. However, that doesn't mean I understand what's happening in every sentence. A lot of them I'll have a general idea. Most of them I'll have a general idea, anywhere in the range of having a general idea to fully understanding what's happening. There's only a few that at the end of listening to it twice, reading it once and listening to it twice, that I truly don't understand what's happening. And that's good. So there's a general idea that I get, and I can read the words, but reading comprehension in its fullest level is not there yet. And you know what? Since I'm reviewing the chapters over and over and over and over and over again, I'm okay with that, because I think this might be my process. And I'm not sure what the remaining steps are after step 3 when I actually know the meaning. I imagine there'll probably be a step 4 to make sure that if there's any specific grammar functions or any meaning that's attached to the grammar that isn't inherent in the, or obvious in the, in just the meaning itself, then I probably need to attach that to it. And 5 might be collocations. I don't know. There's a process, right? But right now the process is only 3-step, and I'm stuck between step 2 and step 3, which is still a pretty fun place to be. Because if you told me a year ago that I could comprehend, no, that's not true, that I could read the vast majority of this without any opinion, I'd say, bullshit, man, I'm never gonna get there. This is too hard. And it's happening. It's happening at my pace. It's happening in a process that I don't fully understand, but it's happening. So right now, I can read a lot, and I comprehend some. And that's how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to go with it. Because what I was doing before was concentrating so much on understanding everything to the point where I didn't get through content. I didn't get through new material. I got bored. I got frustrated, and I stopped. And I don't want to stop. If that means I have to keep reviewing chapters over and over and over, that's what I'll do. I'll just do it. I'll review 1,000,000 times. Within this, let's see, August, September, October, November, within this 4-month period, I'm reviewing just the HSK 20 chapters, just the 20 chapters of HSK 3. I'm reviewing them 4 times. I'm not doing the entire chapter each of the 4 times, but I'm doing them in ways that I'll be getting through all of the content by the time I hit the 4th time. And for the listening part, I'll probably do that 4 times. And then I'll do the reading and the other stuff in addition during the other 3 times. Sorry, during some of those 4 times. But I like this process because there's something, even though there's some meaning missing, I feel really good when I can read and then listen. And although I sound like a buffoon, I get a lot of the words right. And there's something about that is encouraging. So I'm going to go with this and see where it goes. I have no idea if this will actually work. But if I can push through from reading ability to reading comprehension, and excuse me, I didn't actually study literacy. I taught and studied composition for second language learners, and I studied language learning methods, but I never actually studied initial literacy. So I'm not sure what those 2 actual words are. I'm sure there are words. There's always words in education for different things. But right now I'm just kind of giving them my own terms of reading versus reading comprehension. So if I can actually make that leap, that'll be really exciting. And I don't know why I'm still saying if, because of course I will, because that's what happened in the other chapters, in the other levels. The more I read them, the more I understood. I'm not even looking at the pictures yet, to be honest with you, the pictures that come in some of the chapters, in all of the chapters, in some of the exercises. I'm going straight with the text. I'm going straight with just Hansa all the time. Hansa all the time. I don't even know what song that is. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm doing the hardest part first. I'm doing listening, which is hard enough, but I'm doing listening in a way that makes it really hard, but makes the rest of the chapter really easy. So I'm making it hard to make it challenging and to make it interesting and to suit my own personal goals in a way that it wouldn't if I was just doing it as a straight listening exercise. So we'll see if it works. The only person that knows is future me, and she's not here right now, so please leave a message after the tone. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I miss answering machines. Anyway, alright, so, and if you don't know what an answering machine is, Wikipedia is your friend. Or go back to some rom-coms from the 1980s and 1990s. And if you don't know what a rom-com is, I'm so sorry, but I cannot help you. Google might. Baidu might. Bing might, but dear lordy, if you're using Bing, we gotta talk. Anyway, okay, that's it. My internet judgment is over. That is my reading update. I can read, and someday I can understand. But right now, I can read. I can read so much of this specific graded HSK material. But you know what? That feels like something. Satyan.